He's been a friar for more than 48 years and a priest for more than 41. He's a member of the Franciscan Province of Our Lady of Guadalupe in the U.S., currently the director of the Laudato Si Center for Integral Ecology at Siena College near Albany, New York. This is a new initiative of the college designed to bring the opportunities and challenges of the Catholic and Franciscan traditions on ecology to the life of the college and use their resources to help bring about change in our world. Prior to leading the formation of the center, Brother Michael was the Minister General for the Orders of Friars of Minor, leading the Franciscan order in the world. He has a storied history of working in various Catholic institutions, including Franciscans International and the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. His heart is as a missionary, serving for many years in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and now bringing that missionary evangelizing spirit to the work of integral ecology and social transformation. So with that, I pass it over to you, and thank you so much, Brother Michael.
Welcome. Hello to everyone. What an incredible moment in which we find ourselves, a Jubilee year of the Church in which we are called to embark upon a journey, a movement leading from some point where we find ourselves, each of us finds ourselves, and where we see before us the state of the world, however we define that, whatever confusion, whatever hopes or disappointments, whatever peace or uncertainty that we carry within our hearts, we're called to step out in faith. And it's the courage that comes from faith. That's the only thing that can provide us even the energy and the thought of taking the first step of this pilgrimage. And maybe one word, I'll come back to it at the end, the Canticle of Creation, the Canticle of Brother Son that Francis composed, it's the story of a process of reconciliation, about healing, about coming back into this oneness with each other, with all of creation, with God. And so keep that in mind, because that's a central pillar, I think, not only of the Canticle of Brother Son, or called Canticle of Creatures, it's a central pillar of our entire faith journey in Jesus, in back to the center, back into God. And so one other thing I would also caution, come as we are. There's no reason we don't have time to clean up all of our internal messes or even to straighten out the world before we begin this journey. We come as we are. I was reminded, as I was thinking about this, reminded of the two pilgrims, I would call them, who were journeying from Jerusalem, going back home somewhere on the road to Emmaus. And they were just completely, their lives had been destroyed. Their hopes had been turned upside down. At one point, Jesus turned their hopes in a different direction. They found themselves almost hopeless. And God comes and meets them on the journey. God listens, God accompanies in the person of Jesus, and they begin then to discover a new source of hope. So I think it's important to keep in mind, we come as we are. God will meet us there. Pilgrimage is an intentional act also. It's not just haphazard. It's something we must prepare for. It's a response to the stirrings of the Spirit of God coming from within us, perhaps, but also from outside of us, perhaps from the realities that we experience, the destruction, the images that were shown about what we're doing to the natural world, to God's world, to our world, to the earth community. And so it could also come from this restlessness of what we see going on around us. In any sense, it's a reflection of a longing or a need for a deeper sense of meaning and connectedness, whether it's spiritual, personal, existential. That restlessness, I think, points us desire to break free from the constraints of the present, that the all too familiar, the predictable. It's like a search for truth or authenticity that can't be fully satisfied by staying or standing in one place, mentally or physically. Pilgrimage is one way of answering this desire, this inner push towards growth, towards reconnecting with all of creation. There are several dimensions of this pilgrimage journey that we need to keep in mind. In preparation for this, I read for the second time, spes non confundit. That's just a crazy way of saying hope does not disappoint. It's an opportunity for us. I think Pope Francis tells us first and foremost, it's an opportunity for us. Pilgrimages are an opportunity to create a space of silence, to turn off all the outside noise temporarily, to allow the Spirit of God to lead us on an interior journey, which is at the very heart of all spiritual pilgrimages across the world's many religious and spiritual traditions. And I did another deep dive. I looked at about 6 different of the world's religions just to see what their sense of pilgrimage was. And silence was at the heart of all of them. There was no exception to that, the need for us to take a time to be able to interiorize. So silence and pilgrimage are closely related and often involve a period of intentional, quiet reflection. allowing us, the pilgrims, to deeply connect with our spiritual inner self. But also this connection with ourselves, it's like carving out a space so that we can allow other things to begin to repopulate us, things that God intends to repopulate. And so one thing that I thought of right away in this silence, where are some places to go? In the natural environment, standing in a forest. I used to love to do that as a child and even as an adult, sitting on the bank of a river or stream and watching the tides flow by, climbing to the top of a mountain or ridge. And there I'm reminded of a book written by Nelson Mandela, where he talked about climbing to the top of one mountain and seeing that there were many mountains yet to climb. But the important thing was he had arrived at some point where he could celebrate, he could rejoice and say, now I have the courage to go to the next mountain. For St. Francis of Assisi, caves were a special privileged place for him. He loved to go to caves. I don't know if he was into bats or not, or the Batmobile, but he certainly found the cave was an image of the crucified God, Jesus, who had been placed in a tomb, and the tomb could not contain him. The rocks split open and life sprung forth. And so I think it's important, another space for that. And these lists can go on. You choose your own favorite place. Watching a sunrise or a sunset, allowing the rays and declining light to speak to us, to penetrate our outer armor, reaching into our hearts, melting us in a sense, and allowing us to receive the grace of God in a new way. You know, I did a couple of different experiences very quickly. I've only got a few minutes, but I want to talk about one moment. I would join some pilgrims on the road from Chiapas in southern Mexico to the hill of Tepeyac, the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe, a journey of some 920 kilometers. Don't worry, I didn't walk the whole thing. I walked several kilometers with some of the pilgrims on the road. And they spoke of an opportunity to enter into a deep reflection, a prayer, an experience of a connection with the divine. One woman told me that in the silence, she had an opportunity just simply to reverence those things that she had lost a sense of reverence for. A deep sense of humility and devotion and gratitude. Another young man, 20 years old, told me his desperate need for guidance in his life. He felt completely lost, had lost his job. And so he was looking for inner peace. And he spoke about sunrises and sunsets, light, heavy rain, the cool breeze descending with darkness, a sense of connection with the natural world so often neglected, even pushed out of our lives, to hear God speaking to us through nature. And the word that this young man said was he found that in listening to nature, he developed a sense of greater trust in God, just to allow God to speak and to place all of his burden in the hands of God. I think also we see that pilgrimage is not only a lack or principally a lack of sound, it's rather a space for the soul to reflect, to listen to God's voice, to the beating of one's heart, listen to the rhythm, to the feelings of present and past hurts and disappointments, but also of blessedness of the many ways God has been working and journeying with us. Nature literally breathing through us, in us, inviting us into a oneness that's larger than ourselves. Pilgrimage is also a time for us to connect in new ways with other people and with the natural world around us. I had another privileged time to go to St. James de Compostela in northwestern Spain. Some might think I was on the plane all the time, and I was. But the thing was, when I got to Spain, I had a chance to walk several kilometers it was interesting. I met someone, there were three gentlemen walking together from France, from Germany, and Japan on what's called the El Camino. They met one another on the road and over the course of a week forged new bonds of friendship. For each of them, one of the greatest experiences El Camino was the chance to meet other seekers, others who carried within a flame of hope, hope for peace in the world, hope that all people would care for one another respectfully, hope that the world would wake up and see the destruction human beings were inflicting on the wounded planet, hope for a future where all might have their basic needs met, hope that all young professionals might not lose themselves in the pursuit of money or prestige and climbing the corporate ladder. These are the words what I understood, because it was interesting to be with them. The Japanese gentleman, his English was quite broken. The German fellow's English was quite good, but the French gentleman's English was questionable. I'll just use that. I was able to speak with him in French afterwards to make sure I understood. But I think what more than anything else, they spoke of an experience of sensing connectedness with each other and with something much larger than themselves and with the natural world. And one last thing before I give you my 10 commandments for this pilgrimage. A couple of years ago, I took time off. Some of you heard my story. I went to Alaska thinking I was going to seek out silence. And when I got there, nature started screaming at me. The rivers and the lack of salmon screamed at me. The melting permafrost screamed at me. And the impact of COVID, which was still present strongly among the Athabascan indigenous peoples, all of these things spoke to me, and they turned my world completely upside down. I was going to go back to Africa and do something else. If we open ourselves in this pilgrimage to life and to the voice of God speaking in all the many different ways, our lives will be transformed. And so now to conclude, I have 10 commandments for you because we need to prepare for the journey. Number one, plan what might be necessary for the journey, and that which is not necessary, leave behind. Take the minimum with you. This was something that St. Francis of Assisi encouraged all of his followers, brothers and sisters, young and old, to keep this in mind. And this was harking back to the Jesus' invitation to the disciples to take nothing with them for their journey in order to create space for God to work and for life to be able to speak. Number two, take a short inventory of those things that are troubling you, the potential causes of interior restlessness. List all those potential obstacles, attitudes, even physical challenges that might try to slow you down or make you want to give up on the journey. Put those before you and remind yourself of those, that they are only temporary obstacles, not permanent ones. Three, lay your burdens down before the journey. Do this intentionally and trust these into God's hands. Number four, be attentive to each step of the journey, to each person, to each creature, to each event that you encounter along the way. Attentiveness is essential, since this is a way by which the Spirit of God will reveal to us new insights and provide new ideas, new ways of perceiving our lives, our world, God. Number five, remember to breathe in, which I'm not doing now, and breathe out. Just everyone take a moment. Breathe deeply in and breathe out. In the Canticle of Brother Sun, composed by St. Francis and sung beginning in 1225, he talks about brother wind and air, filling our lungs, sustaining us for life with a journey. Number six, put the right foot, or if you're left-handed, put your left foot forward, followed by the right or left foot, one step at a time. If we look at these problems, these challenges facing the world today in terms of the earth community, we will want to abandon it and give up in hopelessness. That's not what we're called to do. We're called to pick off small pieces and allow those then to transform us one step at a time, to allow God to transform us, the earth community, to call us into this new relationship. Number seven, remember that the Pilgrimage of Hope is about entering into prayerful dialogue with God, dialogue with those around us, dialogue with all of creation, dialogue with ourselves. And another, returning back to the Canticle of Brother Sun, or the Canticle of the Creatures, all of creation is on the sidelines, and not just on the sidelines, right there with us, filling us with air, filling us with wind, giving us everything we need for the journey, cheering us along. All of creation, Brother Sun, Sister Moon, Sister Water, Brother Fire, all joining in the chorus of God's love and hope for each of us, that we will have the courage to do the journey, to allow the pilgrimage to lead us to where God wishes to lead us. And this is the source of our hope. Number eight, along the journey, we have opportunities to meet amazing people doing amazing things. Pope Francis tells us this in his opening of the year of Jubilee year. We need to listen to the story of other people's lives, their struggles, but also the wonderful things God is doing in and through them. This will connect us so that we see ourselves no longer as one by one. We're all bound together on this journey. Pope Francis reminds us also, point number 9, that the Pilgrimage of Hope is not only about our personal relationship with God, it must include all those things, all those people, all of creation that continues to be loved into being by God. Nor can it be reduced simply to a physical movement. It is a journey inside of thought, insight, heart, spirit. It's a journey that will lead to greater compassion, care, love, and connection. And point number 10, these pilgrimages of hope or creation are about the healing of all of our relationships with the earth, with one another, with God, with ourselves. It's about taking positive steps to bring about the process of reconciliation in our lives and with all of creation. It's a journey of the soul, the spirit, and the heart. And my last commandment, number 11, oops, I only said there were 10, weren't they? Well, there's 11. The 11th is this: don't enter this journey, this pilgrimage, unless you are prepared for your entire life, your entire world to be turned upside down, or perhaps for the first time, right side up. To all of our fellow pilgrims, let's travel together. God is with us at every step of the way. We are together. Bon camino.